Okay, so this is today's question. So it's basically another intersection of solids. Again, quite a simple one. It's a 2019 mock question. So basically, we have some sort of tent shape here. This is a children's play centre, and we're just taking two of the sort of outjuts or two of the other tents that go into it. We're not including the other two here. So again, we can see sort of roughly that it's this shape projecting into sort of like a pyramidal type shape, square base pyramid, but it's unusual in that it's two different varying angles on it. So we're going to start off with this. Now again, because I put the question here, it does have to be quite tight to the left hand side. So that's the most important thing. The height isn't very high this time, but we'll bring it down a little bit. So it'll come down about 100. Okay. So again, I'll draw my ground line as a heavy line. Okay, and again, I'm only going to come in 10 millimeters max from the edge here to start. Okay. Now I'm going to use colour pencils today just to shade in the two different things that are intersecting. I made a small mistake the last day and just two lines that I forgot to heavy in at the end, but I'll have pointed these out to you. So we know here that this is 140 long, so we'll go across 140. And that's the whole length, and then we know this is 80. So do a little bit of maths here. 140 minus 80 is 60, so we must come in 30 from the left and 30 from the right. And then we have 80 minus 40, so that's 40, and then divided by 2, so that's 20 again. And 20 again, and I'd always just double check these. So I should have 40 there, and I should have 80 between those two points, which I do. And then I suppose I could check this as well just to make sure it's like 30 on both sides, but it looks even. So I'm happy enough with that. So what I'm going to do is I'll just draw, well, that's just a point. I'll bring it down to this one. That one here is going to be up higher in the air. I'll bring it up. This one here is the other point. This one here, and I forgot about one point that I'll need, and that's basically the center point. So half of 40 is 20. And we bring it up. Alternatively, I could have drawn the X and plan and then brought it up afterwards. So we'll start with the elevation. We'll draw in as much of the elevation. Again, I've just left this out. If it was on the day of the exam, I could draw this in and the end view. But just, again, because I put the question here, I won't have space for doing that. So we know that we have a few heights here. Actually, it's not very high at all. 65 is the maximum height. And then we have a height of 50. We have a height of 40. And we have a height of 25. So usually I wouldn't mind drawing the whole way across, but just to make things a little bit more seeable, I'll probably just keep them in certain sections. So I'll draw that like that. I'll draw this one even shorter. I'm not going to draw anything from the top, and then this one is between here. So again, what I'm going to do, just to make it a little bit easier to see, I'm going to look at, well, what did they show me heavies in exactly? Okay, so this looks to be even easier than I had assumed. But anyways, we'll give it a go and we'll see how it gets on. Okay, so it's no harm, especially considering we're used to working at home, getting used to just the basics. And again, it's just a single class today, so if it's a bit simple, fair enough. So we have our structure there, and I'm just going to heavy this edge here and this edge here. It says I don't know how far those go in, so we'll have a look at that in a second. Okay, so we'll come down a gap of 10. Again, I don't want to come more than 10 because this is quite tight, and that's literally for this square structure. So this is 80. I don't know, does it say here? Doesn't actually say it's a square base or the pyramid shapes, but obviously if there's nothing given here, you must assume that it's 80 millimeters. Okay, so there we go, like so. And again, it looks like we can heavy that in, and 80 minus 40 is 20 and 20. And we'll bring those across like so. Now, I'm actually not convinced that's not 100% correct. Again, sometimes the mocks are incorrect. And the reason I say that's not correct is because that edge there would be hidden detail or wouldn't exist depending on what it is. But I'm assuming for the minute that's hidden detail. But nothing's going to happen at the top. So basically I'm going to heavy this in. Okay. Leave that little bit there for the minute. I will heavy the top line here, say. And I'll heavy this line here. And I'll heavy this line here. I'll heavy this line here for the minute. Okay. I suppose the first thing just to be aware is sometimes if you're doing something from a mocks paper, they haven't spent as much time as the State Exams Commission would in terms of figuring out all the potential mistakes that are in it. So it's not uncommon for a mocks question to have mistakes in it. So that's one thing. Another thing that's important is that you start to think about these for yourself anyways. A number of people from the homework question the previous day didn't fully think about the question and why there was a mistake in the draw, and I think only one person copped it. Okay, they might have submitted it so far anyways. Okay, so that's that. Okay, and then what we do is we're going to do an end view. So as I said, what I'm going to do from now is I'm going to bring this up. So the reason I'm doing the end view at this stage is, so I said from now on I'm just going to bring down the 45 degrees that way and bring them across. So you'll find that easier. I wouldn't have usually done that way, but there's a lot of advantages to using that method. Alright. So that's what we'll do. So I'll bring these up. Sorry, that needs to go somewhat more. And we'll project these across. Okay. So firstly, the outside sort of pyramid shape would look the same as it did in the other view. So it's the same from this side as it is from the other side. Now I seem to have misplaced my glue, so this might be slightly darker one. It's probably just rolled under the board. Slightly different color glue. It probably looks the same on the visual. So we'll draw this like so. And then we have the change in slope over the top. And then we have, forgot to bring across this line. Okay, so we have this shape here. So this is basically the shape that the child can decide to crawl into the tent in the middle part from. So they would have to crawl in from one side. They would have a higher space to sit in. Okay, so the first thing, so from yesterday, basically make sure that you're heavy in the end view, right? Now, I got some colour pencils for today, so I'm just going to shade them in as two different things. Now, I'll keep maybe the main structure itself as a blue. Do I have a darker blue? This one here might work a bit better. Okay, so I'm going to say, well, the main structure, and I'm just going to shade it in blue. Hopefully that this will help to explain to you what's happening here a little bit better. Okay. So I have my blue tent. So that's basically this bit here, right? And then we're going to say, see, I haven't used red yet. Hopefully it's dark enough. Yeah. Okay. So we have our red entrance. Okay. So this here will be the red entrance. Okay. And this here will be the blue. Sorry, this here will be the blue tent. Okay. Now, what's unusual, and this is why I thought it was a bit easy, is these will actually just intersect this because this is a flat slope. So that's exactly where they would intersect. So really it's just the plan that we have to figure out in this case, right? And again, it's just a simple projection. You will see that as the days goes on, they'll get a little bit more and more complicated. So that will just go straight to there. That will just go straight to there. I'll just shade it here so that you can see it. This is basically my red object coming in here. Okay. Now, as I said, there is a small mistake here. These points here are points that I will make. So there's a few ways that I can do this. I could technically bring them down, but just for the sake of understanding, we label them. We'll call them point 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So basically there's point 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 on the left hand side, and if you want, you call the other ones 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 on the other side. But we just start with this side first. So 1 would be here, and also 5. So basically there's 1 on that side and 1 on that side. Sorry, my 5 is a little bit difficult to see there. We then would have 2 and 4 would be here, and we then would have 3 here. So what I can do now is I can bring those down. So I just use maybe a purple, just to stand out a little bit different. So bring down 3. Okay, so it might be a little bit dark for what I'm doing with eyes. So again, if I bring 3 across here, that's where point 3 is. So I'll just use the same pink that I had to mark that in. 2 and 4 are literally on this line. So 2 is this one. So I'm following it down and also following this across. And then 4 is this one. And then 1 and 5 are already brought down. There's 1 and there's 5. So they're actually on that line. So all I have here is basically I have a line that goes across as far as here, that goes across as far as here, and that goes across as far as here. And then it will slope up like so. Okay. As a result, this edge here would be, I'm assuming there's a steel bar or something underneath to hold them together, would be hidden detail. So there's basically my red surface. Sorry, my pencils keep rolling in underneath the thing, but this is basically my blue surface, or my blue tint, or my blue structure. Sorry, that X went out right to the edge. So again, what I'm doing there is just basically doing spot the difference. I should always go back and check the question that I haven't forgot anything. So it's quite simple to do. Okay, and then this is my red structure coming into this. Okay. And then I'll do the same on the other side. So typically people would refer to these as different sides. Obviously you know it's symmetrical, so you could simply figure it out, but we just call this 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. So these are the points on this side. So this would be 8, this would be 7 and 9, this would be 6, and this would be 10. So if I bring this down, this is 6, this is 10. Again, I'll use my purple just to stand it out a little different. This is 8, and that goes down to there, and 7 and 9. Okay. So 7 is the one on this side, and 9 is the one on this side, and 8 is there. So 6 will go to 7, will go to 8, will go to 9, will go to 10. So that's why it's important to label them in a logical order, that they go 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, so they'll go 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 here. Okay, and I'm happy with that. And don't forget to extend this line in as far as there. Don't forget that technically, as I said, this will be the hidden detail in here. And then we'd have a solid line and solid line. Now just a simple point about the hidden detail. This hidden detail on this side is actually incorrect, whereas this one is correct. And what I mean by that is literally the solid line should touch here. So in order for that to be correct, that should be extended out a small bit further. That one a little bit long, but that's a minor mistake. Technically it should start, you should see exactly where it starts. There shouldn't be a sort of indiscretion there. So again, I'll just shade it in, just to try to help a bit with understanding. But that's the question completed. Okay, I'm going to shade this in. This is my blue structure. Okay, and that's it done.